So breaking right now, city police released the body camera footage from a shootout between police and an armed suspect.
Tyrone Banks was killed and 13 officers were then placed on administrative leave. Rachel Carden is live outside of city police headquarters where she is breaking down the many unanswered questions left in this investigation. Rachel.
That's right, Vic and Nicole. Now, Commissioner Harrison just showed us one body-worn camera, even though multiple officers were wearing them that night. He said this particular site shows exactly what happened that night. It's the best depiction of what went on the ground. There was also Foxtrot video where you can see the suspect holding a gun and pointing it at officers. It sounds like a war zone. Multiple officers fired their weapons at the man driving this silver SUV. The driver earlier identified as an armed and dangerous suspect.
We knew for a fact that this was the subject who tried to run over one of our officers the night before. We knew for a fact it was the subject who fired upon an officer at a different part of the city. And this subject could have caused harm to either more officers or other citizens throughout the night and throughout the day.
30-year-old Tyrone Banks was killed in the shootout. Foxtrot video shot from above shows Banks pointing a gun outside his car.
They ended up at that light, and you saw him get out of the car, and that's the first, not the first instance, but that's an instance that Foxtrot caught him pointing at a car, that he gets back into the car and then turns the corner.
There's another encounter with the suspect once he crashes the silver SUV on East Caroline Street and is swarmed by police. WJZ was at the scene the next day as nearby glass was being replaced because it was hit by flying bullets.
We have to be concerned about collateral damage. Then the number of officers fired, the amount of rounds that were fired becomes a concern for any chief, for any executive, because as I stated, we have to be accountable for where every one of our rounds ends up.
I asked Harrison if this was a suicide by cop situation, and he said,
we have some information from a relative that suggests that that could be the case, but the investigation is not complete, so we don't know definitively.
13 officers are on administrative leave following the shooting, but Harrison could not tell us how many fired their weapons, how many rounds were shot, or if the suspect ever fired. We know this investigation is really just getting off the ground. They still need to complete a ballistics report as well as an internal investigation before everything is complete and they can give us all the details of what happened that night. We're live in front of police headquarters. I'm Rachel Carden for WJZ.